Okay, so now we are, we'll look at text 31, unless there's some questions. Okay, text 31. Sri Maitreya continued. After thus killing the most formidable demon, Hiranyaksha, the Supreme Lord Hari, the origin of the boar species, returned to his own abode, where there is always an uninterrupted festival. Now we know what's going on in the spiritual world. Uninterrupted festivals are going on in the spiritual world. Mm-hmm. The Lord was praised by all the demigods headed by Brahma. So that's what's going on. It's an unending festival. And an aspect of the unending festival is continual glorification of the Lord. Purport. The Lord is spoken of herewith as the origin of the boar species. As stated in the Vedanta Sutra 1.1.2, the absolute truth is the origin of everything. And see, that's what we have to meditate on, that Krishna is the origin of everything. The devotees and the demons, everybody, everything is emanating from the Lord. Some people say, well, no, you can't say that. That's not right. How can that be right? Yeah, everything good comes from the Lord, but nothing bad can come to the Lord. Why do you say the demons come from the Lord? Well, yeah, that's true. Everything is coming from the Lord, everything that's good and everything that's bad. Does that make Krishna bad? No, it doesn't. Because everything that's bad can become good if one associates with devotees and engages in chanting the holy names of the Lord. The uh, bad people are not prohibited from becoming good. That's why the Lord is a merciful Lord. Everyone who's become bad, their original, let's say, position was to be good, but because of bad association, they turn bad. But they can go back to being what they originally were, good. We're all originally coming from Krishna. It means we all have a relationship to Krishna. We're not coming from demons. You might think that, but no, we all originally were with Krishna. And some people continue to be with Krishna, and other people, out of ignorance, uh, distance themselves from Krishna. But because we all have come from Krishna, we can all go back to. Okay, so Sri Maitreya continued. After thus killing the most formidable demon, Hiranyaksha, the Supreme Lord Hari, the origin of the boar species, returned to his own abode, where there is always an uninterrupted festival. The Lord was praised by all the demigods headed by Brahma. So one of these days we will have also uninterrupted festivals. That means we all became liberated. We have these festivals every once in a while, but in the spiritual world, there's uninterrupted festivals. Now we can see what we can look forward to if we become Krishna conscious. Purport. The Lord is spoken of here with as the origin of the boar, as stated in the Vedanta Sutra 1.1.2. The absolute truth is the origin of everything. Therefore, it is to be understood that all 8,400,000 species of bodily forms originate from the Lord, who is always Adi, or the beginning. So, see, that's very good information. That means everyone and everything is coming originally from Krishna. So, going back to Godhead is the natural position for everyone, because originally we have all come from Krishna.
But Lord is also called Anadi, right, Maharaj?
Okay, yeah. That means he has no beginning.
Nadir Adir. He is the beginning and he's also no beginning.
He's what?
He's simultaneously both.
Yeah.
Mm.
Adi means the beginning. Anadi means what? There's no end of the beginning. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna addresses the Lord as Adyam, or the original. Similarly, in the Brahma Samhita, the Lord is addressed as Adi Purusham, the original person. Indeed, in Bhagavad Gita 10:8, the Lord himself declares, Matak Sarvam Pravartate. From me, everything proceeds. So that's a definition of the Lord, that from which everything emanates. So therefore, we say these different prayers, uh, that, but basically everything emanates from the Lord. Nothing, it's not, see, sometimes people say, well, wait a minute, I don't accept that. How can you say everything? Because there's evil in this world. Are you saying that evil comes from Krishna? Yes, it does. In what way? Well, if you um, engage in evil activities, it's because you have forgotten Krishna. And if you engage in pious activities, it's because you remember Krishna. In both ways, you're related to Krishna. See? So everything is coming from Krishna. The bad things is by forgetfulness of Krishna, and the good things is by remembrance of Krishna. But the good news is that even the worst of all people can become the best by taking up Krishna consciousness. That's the Lord's mercy. Okay. So the Lord is spoken of herewith as the origin of the boar species. As stated in Vedanta Sutra, the absolute truth is the origin of everything. Therefore, it is to be understood that all 8,400,000 species of bodily forms originate from the Lord, who is always Adi, or the beginning. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna addresses the Lord as Adyam, or the original. Similarly, in the Brahma Samhita, the Lord is addressed as Adi Purusham, the original person. Indeed, in Bhagavad Gita 10.8, the Lord himself declares, Matak Sarvam Pravartate, from me everything proceeds. In this situation, the Lord assumed the shape of a boar to kill the demon Hiranyaksha and pick up the earth from the Garbha ocean. Thus he became Adi Sugukara, the original boar. In the material world, a boar or pig is considered most abominable, but the Adi Shukara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was not treated as an ordinary boar. Even Lord Brahma and the other demigods praised the Lord's form as a boar. This verse confirms the statement in Bhagavad Gita that the Lord appears as he is from his transcendental abode for the sake of killing the miscreants and saving the devotees. By killing the demon Hiranyaksha, he fulfilled his promise to kill the demons and always protect the demigods headed by Brahma. The statement that the Lord returned to his own abode indicates that he has his own particular transcendental residence. Hence, he is full of all energy. He is all pervasive, in spite of his residing in Goloka Vrindavan. That means he's everywhere present in the spiritual world and the material world. Just as the sun, although situated in a particular place within the universe, is present by its sunshine throughout the universe. Although the Lord has his particular abode in which to reside, he is all pervasive. The impersonalists accept one aspect of the Lord's features, the all pervasive aspect, but they cannot understand his localized situation in his transcendental uh, abode, where he always engages in full transcendental pastimes. Especially mentioned in this verse is the word akanditot savam, utsava, means pleasure. Whenever some function takes place to express happiness, it is called utsava. Utsava, the expression of complete happiness, is always present in the Vaikuntha Lokas, the abode of the Lord, who is worshipable even by demigods like Brahma, to say nothing of other less important entities such as human beings. The Lord descends from his abode to this world, and therefore he is called Avatar, which means one who descends. Sometimes avatars is understood to refer to an incarnation who assumes a material form, flesh and bone, but actually avatara refers to one who descends from higher regions. The Lord's abode is situated far above this material sky, and he descends from that higher position. Thus, he is called avatara. Well, an avatara is very special expansion of the Lord. So it's not, sometimes people are referred to as avatars, but actually, avatar means one who descends from the spiritual world for a specific purpose. Just like Lord Boar descended from the spiritual world for a specific purpose, that is to uh, save the earth. And they put on his tusks and picked it up from the Garbhodak Ocean. So the avatars are uh, descending from the spiritual world to perform some purpose in the material world, and then they go back from where they came from. So it says here, the Lord descends from his abode to this world, and therefore he is called Avatara, which means one who descends. Sometimes avatars is understood to refer to an incarnation who assumes a material form of flesh and bone, but actually avatara refers to one who descends from higher regions. The Lord's abode is situated far above this material sky, and he descends from that higher position. Thus, he is called Avatara. So sometimes, I remember when his guru, this one guru was around, his disciples came to me and tried to convince me to go and see him because he was the present avatar. I said, no, I'm not going. I'm not interested in seeing your so-called present avatar. So you see how uh, demoniac persons, although they might be smiling, although they might be dressed like sadhus, basically, if they declare themselves as God, they're demons. Although you say, well, how can he be a demon? He's an incarnation of God. No, he's not an incarnation of God. He's a demon pretending to be an incarnation of God. So just because a person puts on, gold necklaces and a crown with diamonds and gold, it doesn't mean they're God. And what's interesting is if you look at black rappers, they always have, like gold necklaces and rings and things like that. They're trying to make themselves look important by having these different types of uh, jewelry on their body. So they figured it out, that, well, if I have all this jewelry, then people realize I'm really different and I'm really like God. But there's a saying in English that The clothes don't make the man. Look that up. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. Just because someone has very nice clothes doesn't mean they're a very nice person. So because in the same way you'll see that black rappers or other rappers, they like to wear a whole bunch of jewelry to make themselves look more attractive. What's it saying?
There is a saying, clothes don't make the man.
Yeah, clothes don't make the man.
Which means that the person's character and abilities are more important than their appearance or the clothes they wear.
Yeah.
You cannot accurately judge a person solely by appearances.
Yeah. Exactly. Clothes don't make the man.
Clothes make the man. Proverb is also there.
What?
Clothes makes a man also. Proverb is there. Both are there. What does it say? It conveys the idea that what someone wears can be seen as a sign of their status. Is a proverb that has been recorded in English since the early 15th century.
The
That's
way
the
we
materialistic.
way we can trust can influence how others perceive us.
Well, yeah. I mean, when we go down the street with dhoti, then people say, "Oh, this is some kind of a devotee," right? Uh, well, uh, sometimes people walk down the street naked, so uh, and everyone, they look and they try not to look at such a person. Uh, one time when I was in Vrindavan, this one sadhu came. He's completely naked, and on his genitals he had a nail that was uh, piercing his genitals, and he had one arm that was up like this. That apparently he had kept that arm up like that for many many years, never brought it down, and and he was naked, and they let him walk into the temple because he was, I guess, the considered he was a real yogi because he was mutilating himself, uh, and uh, and everybody gave him a lot of respect, even the devotees. I don't know if Prabhupada would have permitted that. Um, this was after Prabhupada left, but they let him come into the leaders of the temple. Let him come into the temple. Yeah, and everybody was, uh, basically they were respecting him because he was performing this severe type of tapasya. I don't know if it's severe type of tapasya, but it looked like he hadn't put his arm down for a long, long time, and he was completely naked. He had a nail through his genitals, uh, so he was performing severe tapasya. So people like that in India, they're allowed to come into the temple and not stopped. Uh, I don't really think they're really special, but everyone thinks that they're special, so they let him into the temple. Everyone thought he was special, but they let him into the temple. So they're
Is that considered like Nagababa?
Nagababa, yeah, they're different. They
But does this person worship Vishnu?
well, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't talk to him. That's for sure. All I saw was that the temple, managers let him in. They didn't stop
But he
him.
bowed down and worshipped the
No, he didn't bow down at all.
Oh.
But he was considered to be a genuine sadhu in one way or another. basically because of the severe tapasya that he was performing. Okay, so now, what time is it now? Okay, I think we're on verse numbers what, 30?
32. We just finished
32. Okay. Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, I've explained to you the personality of Godhead's coming down as the first 4 incarnation and killing in a great fight a demon of unprecedented prowess as if he were just a plaything. This has been narrated by me as I heard it from my predecessor, the spiritual master. So there must be more boar incarnations because it says this is the first boar incarnation. And another very significant statement here is it says, this has been narrated by me as I heard it from my predecessor, spiritual master. So that's the position of a genuine devotee. He never makes something up. He simply repeats what has already been explained previously by previous acharyas. And he says, this has been narrated by me as I heard it from my predecessor, spiritual master. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. So there's a saying also in English, is there's nothing new under the sun. So, so in a sense, as far as devotees are concerned, we simply repeat what our acharyas have said, and the acharyas are simply repeating what Krishna has originally said. They don't add or subtract from that. Here the sage Maitreya admits that he explained the incident of the killing of Hiranyaksha by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a straight narration. He did not manufacture anything or add interpretation, but explained whatever he had heard from his spiritual master. So that's a nice phrase, straight narration. It means saying exactly, using the same words that he has heard from his spiritual master, and no embellishments and no subtractions, just word for word what he heard himself from his spiritual master. So he did not manufacture anything or add interpretation, but explained whatever he had heard from his spiritual master. Thus he accepted as bona fide the system of parampara, or receiving the transcendental message in disciplic succession. Unless received by this bona fide process of hearing from a spiritual master, the statement of an acharya or preceptor cannot be valid. It is also stated here that although the demon Hiranyaksha was unlimited in prowess, meaning power, he was just like a doll for the Lord. A child breaks so many dolls without real endeavor. Similarly, although a demon may be very powerful and extraordinary in the eyes of an ordinary man in the material world, to the Lord, killing such a demon is no difficulty. He can kill millions of demons as simply as a child plays with dolls and breaks them. Haribol. Yeah, so whoever seems to be a invincible demon is actually a plaything for the Lord. So we should never be afraid, but always take the shelter of chanting Hare Krishna and accepting the statement of the Lord, Kuntiya Pratijanihi Nami Bhakta Pranasyati, declared boldly, my devotee will never perish. So that is what you would say the a culture of Krishna consciousness. We accept that Krishna is the origin of everything. That means even the demons coming from Krishna. Some people argue with that. They say, well, no, the demons can't come from God. Only good things can come from God. Well, originally everyone is good because they come from God. But then, due to bad association, some people can become corrupted and become demons. But because they come originally from God, they can all be purified and go back to their original state of being a devotee. So if they did not come from Krishna, that means that there has to be two origins. One is from Krishna and one is from, let's say, the devil. And this is believed by some people. They say that, only good comes from Jesus and bad things come from the devil. But that's actually not true. Everything comes from Krishna. If you follow Krishna consciousness, you're a devotee. If you don't follow Krishna consciousness, you're a demon. But both ways, Krishna is involved. By not following Krishna consciousness, you become a demon. But because we all originally come from Krishna, even the most worst person in the world can become the best person, or Adama can become Uttama, because originally we were all with Krishna. Okay. The people would say, no, that's not true. Only good things come from God and bad things come from the devil. Well, that means that the devil is as strong as Krishna. In other words, this is in Christianity. They say that there's a devil, and evil comes from the devil, and good comes from, let's say, Jesus. Well, now you're instead of having oneness, you're having duality. That one thing comes from the devil, and another thing comes from the Lord. But the fact is that everything comes from the Lord. The devil-like people are people who don't follow the instructions of Krishna. And the good people are the ones who follow the instructions of Krishna. But because in both ways one is related to Krishna, one can become a good person, even though they're the worst person, by the mercy of the Lord. See, so we don't have two different, let's say, we're not. This duality is not there. It's a fake duality. Everything is coming from the Lord. So if you follow the Lord's instructions, you're a devotee. If you don't follow the Lord's instructions, you're a demon. But both ways, you're related to the Lord. But people want to say, no, bad things cannot come from Krishna. Therefore, they create this duality. But when we see Jai and Vijay, they were very bad. But by coming in contact with Lord Chaitanya, they became purified. So that means that being bad is not their original position. Otherwise, they would not be able to be purified. But because we all come from Krishna, even though we become very contaminated, we can be purified. You see, so that's the correct way of looking at things. So when Prabhupada came to the United States and he saw, everyone was engaged in illicit sex and gambling and all that stuff, he didn't say, oh, these people are hopeless. There's no way they can be saved. No, because he knows that everyone originally comes from Krishna. So therefore, the natural position is to go back to Godhead. And the unnatural position is doing what they're doing, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending like animals. So therefore, Prabhupada did not think that it was impossible to spread Krishna consciousness in the United States or in the European in the Western world. Some of his godbrothers thought it was impossible. But Prabhupada understood, look, Krishna's the father of all living entities. We all have come from Krishna. So you just have to come into good association. And that's what Prabhupada did. What did he do? In the beginning, he didn't have hardly any money. So whenever he gave a lecture, then prasadam was an apple that he would cut into small pieces and give to everyone. Yeah, because he didn't have any money at that time. But still, he was giving prasadam, both as his lectures and both as slicing an apple in small pieces and giving to everyone. Okay, so are there any questions?
And everybody in the hope become Krishna.
Yeah, even the worst person. Yeah. The adama can become uttama if they take the mercy of a devotee, accept the mercy of a devotee.
Friends on association.
Yes. Yeah, the worst person can become the best person. I've seen that. I've seen that, you know. Sometimes we would pick up people from the street and they're really, you know, very sinful, but they became quickly very Krishna conscious. Not everybody, but some people, you know, that we would pick up from the street, bring them back to the temple, shave their head, and you know, make them get up early, bathe regularly, and some of them became devotees. Some of them didn't. They tried it, but there was too much for them, so they left. But there were others that were like completely devastated, you know, with sense gratification, that became purified very quickly and became devotees and are still devotees. Yeah. So our natural position is to be a devotee. The unnatural position is to be a demon.
Mhm.
So Krishna is on our side. So if a person is wishing, so Prabhupada said once, you know, he said, don't waste your time trying to preach to the Mayavadis. They're not going to understand anything you say or listen to what you're saying. Just spend your time preaching to those people that want to hear it. And you're always going to find people that want to hear and want to be Krishna conscious. You'll always find them. They might not be in the majority, but they're out there just waiting for someone to come and engage them in Krishna consciousness. And we see that, you know, you can, if you're on Sankirtan and you're meeting, let's say 100 people, and 99 people are not interested, but the one person that is interested, it was worth going through the 99 to get to that one person that is interested. You know, and it's as if they're like attracted like a magnet, you know, to Krishna consciousness. And you're always going to see people like that. They're actually hidden devotees just waiting to be contacted. So it's important to go out on a regular basis and preach. And you'll run into, you know, all kinds of people, but you will find this gem of a person who is naturally a devotee, but was not, you know, in an association yet, but just waiting. Okay, so if there are no questions, we will stop right there. Text what, 32 or 33?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
Yes, Maharaj.
Hare-
So, Hare Krishna Maharaj. So, we discuss about that, like everything is Krishna is the source of everything. Everything good, bad things come from Krishna. We also know that.
Okay, now how is that? So when you follow Krishna's instructions, that's good. When you don't follow Krishna's instructions, that's bad. But both things are dependent on Krishna. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. And we are again say that we are part and parcel of Krishna. That means
Yes.
whatever, yeah, whatever the qualities have Krishna has, we also have it, but in like very minute amount, right? So
Yes.
so with that, what I'm saying, so good and bad things are there always. So the quality, in terms of quality, I'm talking about. So good and bad qualities are there in Krishna, but Krishna is God. We are not, like, we are just a human
Wait a
being.
minute. Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. When you say good and bad qualities are in Krishna, it's not true.
Um,
When you follow Krishna's instructions, uh, they're good. When you don't follow Krishna's instructions, they are bad. But Krishna himself doesn't have any bad qualities. Everything is good about him. So for us, if we don't follow Krishna's instructions, it's bad. Okay,
so
it's
is
not
it
that Krishna is bad. We are bad because we're not following his instructions. Go
correct?
ahead.
Yeah, so Maharaj, that's right. No, I'm trying. It's very hard for me to understand. Like, for example, some object, right, made of like hundreds elements. Some similarly, the qualities are so bad. Means there are so many gunas or something, or qualities, right? Gunas. With that said, like Krishna has some of the gunas, both bad and God gunas, let's say, but he's always good since we follow the instructions. Then you are saying that, right? He always
He doesn't have
exhibiting the
any
good
bad.
quality.
No, he doesn't have bad qualities. Bad qualities is when you act contrary to Krishna's instructions.
Correct,
But whereas
correct.
this,
But in that case also, suppose it's coming, right? So is it, how to understand that? Is it like exhibition of something, like whatever you exhibit some behavior based on your good quality? You exhibit, suppose you are angry with something, you are exhibiting your anger. You're doing something wrong with something, so you are doing something with your bad quality. So the exhibit that makes difference. Like qualities must be, everybody has qualities, but how individual is exhibiting those, based on that people can decide whether it's good or bad. Is that how we understand this?
so Maharaj, there's one particular verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which we covered in the 2:127, where the back of the Lord represents the irreligion.
Okay.
So is that something that we can use to explain? Because here it says the back is a representation of irreligion, whereas his wonderful activities are the cause of all living beings' movements, and his beauty is the world's benediction, and his smiling face represents the ultimate attraction. So, because I think you are saying that not following Lord's instructions is basically the irreligion, but it is the part of the entire creation, but it represents the back of the Lord.
Well, those are everything
And
of the Lord is pure. Everything is pure. When it's saying that bad things coming from the back of the Lord, is that what you're saying?
No, this is in Srimad
No, I
Bhagavatam.
know, but is that what it says?
Yeah, it says that the back of the Lord represents adharma or irreligion.
Okay, well,
This is the universal form definition.
the universal form.
Yes,
Okay,
not the.
not the body of Krishna in its original form.
Yeah, because in this material world there is good and bad, but the way Virat Rupa is articulated is that the
and
Anyway,
then
go ahead. All right, go ahead.
and then another question is always bother me or stuck, always stuck there. So we say that okay, everything was good. I mean, everybody was good, but at the spiritual world, right? So, but at the same time, we say that okay, we fall down because of the bad association. If everybody is good, all souls are pure, there is who are bad in that then there what? So everybody is good association. Then who are bad?
All right, I'll
Is
give
it
you an example. I'll give you an example that's very close to us. So let's say there's a young boy, and but he doesn't have a computer, doesn't have a cell phone or anything, and he listens to whatever you say. But then you give him a cell phone and a computer, and now he's coming in contact with all kinds of nonsense people with those gadgets. And also, he's going to school, and some people are good in school, some people are very bad. So he becomes corrupted. Although before, when he wasn't connected with such bad people or bad influences, he was very very good and listening to what you say and being respectful and so forth. But now, after bad association, he became corrupted. So that's what's happening in this world. Uh, now you can say, well, wait a minute. Some people are born bad because of their karma. And that's also a fact. But even the worst person can become the best person if they're willing to be trained by devotees. So that means that we all originally have come from Krishna. Therefore, we all have the potential of going back to Krishna. It's not that some people come from the devil and therefore they will never be rehabilitated. The devil is not even the devil or the so-called devil comes from Krishna, right? So everything comes originally from Krishna. He's the source of everything. If we start saying, well, good comes from Krishna, bad comes from the devil, now we have a duality, and the devil is equal to Krishna, say, or even greater than Krishna, because in some places there are more devil-like people than good people. But no, everybody originally comes from Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there's not two things. There's only one thing. But when there's one thing, well, you still have limited free will. So because limited free will, although we all come from Krishna, you can become a bad person. But because you come originally from Krishna, you can go from bad person back to good person. If you are always bad, and the source, and there are two sources, one is good and one is bad, then it is possible that bad people always remain bad. But actually, it's not the fact that everyone is coming from Krishna. There's not two sources. There's only one source. That's Krishna himself. Some people, distance themselves from Krishna, and some people always remain close to Krishna. But there's no such thing as two sources of people. There's only one source. And because there's only one source, there's always a possibility that the bad person can become good again. People like to make these dualities, but actually there's just oneness. Krishna is the source of everything. Now, when people, reject Krishna, they become bad. But in the same way, they can accept Krishna and become good again, because that was their original position. If there are two sources, one is Krishna and one is evil, then yeah, it's possible that there are evil people that can never become good. But no, there's only one source, is Krishna. And Krishna is all good. So therefore, if there are people that are bad, they can come back to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to preach to anyone. If they're, always been bad, and there's two sources. There's a good source, Krishna, and a bad source, the demons. Then you wouldn't be able to convince anyone to become a devotee. I say. So even the
So
worst world can be converted back into a good person because that's their natural position. That badness was due to bad association. Yes. It's not
so
that, yeah, go ahead.
so Maharaj, yeah. So I think, please correct me if my understanding. Yes, one person is can be good or bad. Like, so bad person can be changed to good person, and good person may be changed to bad person based on the association or something, external factors. But
Yes.
the person is same, right? It's not different two persons, no duality here, right? So it's a one person, but he can be good or bad based on the situation and he is associating to, or the external factors. That means the
Yes.
potency is always there of good and bad. But since we have to be in good moodness, so we have to just do Krishna consciousness is the kind of we practice where we are actually nourishing the good parts so that it is more prominent in our behavior and exhibition to outside world. That's why we're, but the bad thing is still there, but it is kind of dominated by good things. Is that how we understand, like when we person turn from bad to good? So good means he is exhibiting like prominently good qualities, but both are there, but it is in a, like a dominant form, the bad qualities
No,
and
okay.
good
It's
qualities.
not that both are there. It's you have limited free will. And the limited free will is either you follow Krishna's instructions or you don't follow. So you have
Mhm.
that freedom, that limited free will. So if you choose to follow Krishna's instructions, then we know what's going to happen to you. And if you choose not to follow Krishna's instructions, we know what's going to happen to you. It's just like walking down the street and you see a man sitting on a branch of a tree and sawing off the branch. And you tell that person, sir, if you continue doing what you're going to do, the branch is going to be cut off. You're going to fall down. Maybe you could break an arm or a leg. And he looks at you and says, "Oh, I don't care what you say. You just get away from me." And
Yeah.
then you start walking down the street, and then you hear, the branch breaks, and the man starts screaming, and he comes running after you and says, "How did you know that I was going to get injured like this?" Well, obviously you were sawing the branch off. Obviously, I'm not a pundit or anything. It was just common sense, right? So in the same way, when you see people, drinking liquor and having illicit sex and gambling and things, you know what's going to happen to them. It's just like the man sawing off a branch of a tree that he's sitting on. Eventually he's going to fall down. So it's the same with all these other people. Therefore, we should not be attracted by these sinful activities. That's the whole, let's say, purport. We should not be attracted. Although it looks like at one point, it's just like, in a lot of movies, in the beginning, there's this gangster and he's able to kill people, he's getting rich and he's engaging in sense gratification. Then eventually, little by little, the police are harassing him, and eventually his whole, you know, his whole edifice of richness and so forth all collapses, and then goes to jail. And so we should not be, let's say, influenced by the temporary so-called success of demons. It's all like a house made of cards, a house of cards. So, you can sort of put one card to lean on another card, and then you can make a house of cards. And if you blow on it or you touch it, the whole thing collapses right away. So that's what material life is like. And the demons look like they're very successful. The whole thing can collapse at any time. So we should rather, there's this one parable by Jesus. One man builds a house on like in a swamp, and it collapses. Another man builds a house on like concrete, and it doesn't collapse. So in other words, the idea is, if we build our consciousness and our way of life on the basis of Krishna consciousness, we will not collapse. And if we build our life on the basis of sense gratification, it's going to collapse eventually. It's just like seeing the man sawing the branch on which he's sitting. Eventually, he's going to fall down. So we don't have to do things to understand. We just have to see things for what they are. So when you see a person who's engaging in illicit sex and liquor and so forth, you know that they're going to have a very difficult time. Maybe not in the beginning, but as it goes along, there's just so much the body can withstand, and eventually it collapses. Yeah. You keep putting poisons into your body, eventually you die. So, well, we have to have that education of, no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. So it's easier and happier to follow the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness than not follow. You'll have a lot of trouble, or we will have a lot of trouble with that by not following them. But if we follow Krishna consciousness, life is much easier. And we're rewarded by going back to Godhead. By not following, it's much more difficult. First of all, you have to spend a lot of money on drugs and sex and so forth, and you can get into trouble, and there can be, and you have bad association, and so forth. So why risk that when the opportunity is there to be Krishna conscious and avoiding all that bad association? So that is our real destiny, is to follow Krishna consciousness. It's much more difficult life not following Krishna consciousness. Did that answer your question, Prabhu?
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's fair to say that because we are all souls, Maharaj, we are coming from Krishna. The natural position of the soul is always Satchit Ananda Vigraha. So we are always pure in our source, or like who we are always pure. But because of the association with the gunas, so over a period of time, over multiple lives, we build these bad qualities in us.
Yes.
And then it takes, so just because we are our natural position is always pure. So if we come in contact with devotees or pure people, right, pure devotees, that's when we have and take up Krishna consciousness. We have a chance of becoming pure again.
Yes. Because that's your original position. Yeah.
So there is nothing like
if we were evil, born evil, there wouldn't be a chance. But we all originally were with Krishna.
Spirit souls.
Yes. He's the origin of everything. Okay, well, I think we will stop right there. Thank you very much. All
Hare
glories
Krishna.
to
Hare Krishna, Guru
Yes.
Maharaj. Yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to share with you one thing. I got remembered when we were talking about Sankirtan.
Yes.
In the Veg Fest, we were distributing books, Maharaj, and one person came, and he appeared. He is not an Indian. His daughter was next to him, And she was just seeing the books, and she asked, "Who is this?" Then he told, "Krishna." I asked him, "How do you know about Krishna?" He said he visited a temple in Portugal 15 years back, and he had
Okay,
prasadam there.
he said, the father said, not the
Yeah,
daughter? Yeah,
no, no.
okay.
He was telling, then when I asked, he was sharing this, that he visited a temple in Portugal 15 years back, and he had their prasadam, which he loved
Okay,
it. So that is
yes,
how he came to know about Krishna. He shared.
very good.
Yeah.
He never
Then we,
forgot.
yeah. Then we told him that we gave our temple address, which is there on the banner. And this is our
Mhm.
temple, and you can have more prasadam when you come to our temple. We said he was very happy to know that.
Haribol.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hare Krishna.
people have come in contact with Krishna consciousness all over the world.
Yeah, yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, you see, that's Prabhupada's mercy to spread this movement all over the world. Okay, so we will stop there and continue tonight. This is nice, day and night. Actually, Prabhupada wanted it 3 times a day: the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. 3 classes a day, but we're doing 2. You have to do the 3rd class yourself. Haribol. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today's what? Is it Friday?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay.
Today,
Today we'll be going to Balaji temple.
Is there anything special today?
combined we asked Puja Maharaj in temple.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then put a poster saying that there is Maharaj class.
My class? And that combined Vyas Puja? That means we go to seminar.
8 o'clock.
Mhm.
Check with him. And
So I'm supposed to speak around 8 o'clock. So that means we could go to the Balaji temple as long as we're present at 8 o'clock at the.
Yeah, the only problem is like half an hour drive, so we have to leave by 7:30. I mean, we can still take darshan and.
then here if you leave at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, 6:30. Not many people do it, but
6:30 to 7:30 you can stay there.
Yeah.
From 7:30 you can come back.
Okay, we'll do
Leave at
that.
6 o'clock.
yeah,
We'll do that.
Balaji, that's taking darshan of Balaji is always
Yeah, I don't want to miss that.
special. Something about that.
It's the best darshan. Haribol.
Hari.
Hey, Krishna. Thank you. Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Ram, 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 Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna.
Elevation of 1,800 meters above sea level and named for the people who dwell there, the Armenian Plateau. It's cut through by dramatic valleys and lofty mountains, the awe-inspiring Mount Ararat, the backdrop of beautiful Europe. Out of this stunning terrain emerged the Armenians, who have dwelt there from such an ancient time that they might have been born in the very stone of that land. The early origins of the Armenian people are cloaked in a heavy mist of prehistory. The Armenian language belongs to the Proto-Indo-European family, though how the language came to Armenia has been intensely debated. In the past, it had been argued that it belonged to the Balkan branches of Indo-Europeans, such as Greeks. Some theories even propose that the Armenians originated in the Balkans and later relocated to their historically attested land. An ancient Greek account by Herodotus of the Armenians the historian first ethnographer. The Armenians, who are settlers from Phrygia, were armed like the Phrygians. Herodotus' claim should be viewed skeptically, though it is thought that the Phrygians did migrate from Thrace into Anatolia during or after the downfall of the Hittites. There doesn't seem to be a clear link between the Phrygians and the Armenians. Recent linguistic studies now generally agree that Armenian is in a branch all its own, with no other known member. The silver bullet that explained the origin of the Armenian language came in the 2022 paper by Joseph Lazaridis et al., The Genetic History of the Southern Arm, a bridge between West Asia and Europe, where it was found that beginning in the Middle Bronze Age, there was a sizable introduction of steppe ancestry into the region of the Armenian highlands. One of the samples, a man of Tavshud, Armenia, dated to around 2000 BC, was of steppe origin. The telltale marker being that he possessed around 10% Eastern hunter-gatherer ancestry, which was not at all local to the region, but which formed a core part of the Yamnaya-related steppe admixture. The man was found in a burial of the Trialeti Vanadzor culture, named for Trialeti in Georgia and Vanadzor in Armenia. Archaeological studies have shown that they had a totally stratified society, performed forced sacrifices, and had a pastoral-focused economy. Many of the dead were cremated, but they also had lavish burials for elite, sometimes with cards buried with them. It had previously been thought, based on cultural similarities, that they were of Indo-European origin. Now, genetically confirmed.
Don't risk losing the photos and videos from your phone. This device makes it back up your smartphone.
The most likely scenario
What is it? 9 or 9:30, Namrata Prabhu will come take you. Today you have a kind of follow-up checkup with Manhas.
Okay.
So, and then his own surgery is scheduled for July 16th. Tarak Prabhu's.
Just one surgery. There's more.
I think one, but it is definitely a significant one. And,
How long will he be convalescent?
typically, yeah, I think between 3 to 4 months.
Really?
Yeah.
3 to 4 months.
Yeah, because it's a significant one, like taking out the thyroid. Right now, he's already getting pain while eating.
Wow.
So he said, like, he started seeing in the last week or so, last couple of weeks.
He said he cannot talk.
I mean, he has cancer.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there is that. There is a 30% chance that it is cancerous, which means, like, that they will only.
They got to cut it out.
When they do the surgery, they will know.
Yeah.
What it is. We got to pray and hope that it's all contained. And
oh my God.
Yeah, it's a significant one. But because of that surgery, he won't be able to speak.
Right.
For almost 3 to 4 months, something like that.
Let's pray for him.
Yeah.
You can't do anything else.
So his entire life, at least in the last 25 years, has been fully dedicated. So
yeah.
Krishna will take care.
I hope, yeah. As soon as they start playing around here.
Yeah, that's a very
serious
one. So that's the primary entry one. I mean, some of the other
You can't eat.
hands or
You can't eat.
yeah, you can't eat
You have
easily.
difficulty
And you have to
breathing.
probably go through a food pipe. Some
Oh my
days.
God. Poor man. Anyway, we'll pray for him. The body. So many things can go wrong in the body. Oh, you just gonna-
He will come in an hour or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's